How-to writing is everywhere. From how to apply eye makeup to how to perform the latest snowboarding trick, there is an article or video that will explain the process to you. How-to writing isn't limited simply to how to do things. It can also be procedural and explain how something works. For example, how does a microwave work? Or how does a tornado form? How Stuff Works is a Discovery Education website and TV series entirely comprised of explaining the workings of things in the world around us. Just about everything you buy comes with a manual explaining how it works, and millions of various how-to books are sold worldwide. Clearly, there's a pretty good market for good how-to writing. Let's take a look at the basic elements of a how-to procedural or information essay. Like all types of writing, the essay lead or intro is how you convince readers to give up their time to learn about the process you are explaining. People are busy, so to get them to slow down and read your article, you really need to sell them on some reasons as to why learning the process you are explaining is valuable. Writing about how to create a budget? Then explain to the reader the benefits of creating a budget. You might appeal to their emotions with statements like, are you tired of feeling like your hard-earned money just disappears? Are you prepared to handle emergency financial situations? Do you want to control your spending, reduce stress, and accelerate your path towards your purchasing and financial goals? Appeal to their logical side. Budgets allow you to make informed spending decisions without guessing and grow savings while reducing excess spending. Or you could use figurative language like this simile. Living without a budget is similar to traveling across the country without a roadmap. If you're not writing about a process someone can learn but are focusing more on how something works, like a microwave, you'll want to include some interesting facts to pique your reader's interest. Occasionally, it is a treat to remind ourselves how remarkable some of our most common gadgets are. A typical microwave oven ramps up the electricity from a 120-volt wall outlet to an incredible 3,000 volts or more and safely cooks food in just a minute or two, yet it costs less than a pair of good shoes. And we can watch the show through a handy window. In the body paragraphs of your essay, you'll want to clearly explain the process in a logical, organized manner. For many topics, this is a step 1, 2, 3 process, and you may even choose to use these text features like numbered headings to clarify the organizational structure. The body paragraphs are where your essay is made or lost. Vague or lacking details have turned some potentially helpful articles into a reader's waste of time. To avoid this mistake, remember these tips. If your process has some required materials, share those right away with the reader. It's irritating for a person to try to work through a process and constantly have to stop to run off to grab something that's needed. Share everything that the reader needs up front so he or she can collect it before following the steps you outline. Define technical vocabulary or jargon unique to your topic. Trust me, not everyone knows what an ollie is, so if you're writing about skateboarding tricks, take a moment to define terms that newcomers might not know. Also, be specific. If you're explaining how to build a sandcastle and the step you're explaining is how to obtain the right consistency, don't just tell your reader to pour some water into the sand. Tell them specifically about how much water to use in comparison to the sand. Clearly describe the consistency of the mix that is ideal. If you're too vague, you're simply not helpful. Remember, those you are writing this article for do not know the process or they wouldn't be reading your essay. So be specific, clear, and helpful. Also, you'll need to add researched information, which may include quotations from experts. You need to sound like an authority on the subject, so obviously you'll need to research the process yourself and consult with the experts. You'll need to include at least 3 outside references to support your paper. And always remember those text features. Reading an unfamiliar process can be confusing, and text features like subheadings, numbered steps, using bullets to list materials, and diagrams can really clarify things for your reader. A picture can say 1,000 words and a nicely created illustration can say a lot more than that, which is why many people read the pictures more closely when following instruction manuals than they do the words. In the conclusion of your paper, you need to wrap things up and provide closure. Many writers will do this by again articulating the benefits of mastering the process. Some will suggest next steps or encourage readers with a practice makes perfect sort of message. Ideally, you want to leave your readers with the message that their life has been improved or they are better off because of their new knowledge. Let's look at some good and bad examples of articles to really clarify this. One of these texts is just right, but the other 2 need some work. We'll start with the best example first. How to Drive in the Snow is a nice article from Edmunds.com. We've already read this article and it's available in our course, so I won't read it all to you, but let's highlight the strengths. The introduction has a lot of emotional appeal in it, talking about sliding out of control toward large objects. That's a fear a lot of us can relate to and want to avoid. Add in the trump card here by describing for the reader, they're sliding out of control toward a SUV filled with a family, and yes, you have my attention. I don't ever want to be in that situation, so I'm hooked. I want the author to tell me how to avoid it. The intro in this article continues to give some background information on target fixation and pulls in an expert to begin talking about formal snow training and driving schools that focus on winter driving skills. This gives some great credibility for the steps and strategies that are about to be shared. The expert who was interviewed for these steps gets paid almost $1,500 from people who want to learn from him, and police officers go to his driving school. Credibility has clearly been established. This seems like a great introduction. I am interested to read on. Let's look at the text features now. Subheadings have been used to clearly delineate the different topics, which I like. The picture at the beginning catches my eye for sure and really adds another engagement element. The quotation from the National Highway Safety Commission is a nice added bit of info to again reinforce that knowing how to drive in the snow is important. The picture contrasting safe and recommended following distances in the snow versus dry pavement really clarifies to me in a concrete way just how much distance I need to add when there is snow on the ground. Perhaps the hardest part of the article to explain to someone is how to control and drive into a skid. The author mentions that this is learned through practice and hopefully on a controlled driving course, but to help clarify this trickier topic, a nice diagram is added. Let's peek at the conclusion. To sum things up, the author adds that practice and experience will really help me master these steps, and then the top recommendation from the article is reiterated: go slow. And a nice sentence, or stay home and make hot chocolate, signals the end with a little style. Great article for sure. Very clear, well organized, and researched. Now let's look at another article that is okay, but could certainly be improved. This one's called How to Negotiate with a Car Salesman and Get the Best Deal. The intro is pretty good, comparing dealing with car dealers to going to the dentist. Yeah, reminding people how unpleasant it can be to negotiate with a car dealer is a smart way to start. And it's even smarter to end the introduction by promising to tell me how I could get my car and save money too. Again, the intro has me sold. I want to learn how to do this one too. The essay starts to lose me though in the body because of a lack of specific and helpful information. Securing my financing ahead of time is a good tip, so is the well-rested part, but nothing overly impressive is shared yet. The invoice section is where I really start to get annoyed with the generalities. Why doesn't the author tell me how much I should expect to pay over invoice? Just asking to see the invoice really doesn't help me a bit during negotiations unless I know what to do with it, and how much over the invoice cost I should be paying. The author should have added a target range here, like paying $200 to $500 over invoice as a good ballpark. This also would have been a great place to mention a resource like Edmunds.com, a car site that helps you know what the true market value of a car is and how much the average consumer is paying over invoice by specific make and model. As this paragraph is now, it's not very helpful. The next few paragraphs have some tips, some helpful, some again very general. I'm supposed to say no, but how many times? Do I leave the dealership? How long do I hold out? Since I really have no specifics for how much I should pay or how I can negotiate around the invoice price, I'm getting frustrated here. I'm nearly done with the article and don't feel like the author has made me a better negotiator. I do like the tip about bringing an extra set of keys though. The conclusion does a nice job wrapping things up and reminding me why this is an important process to know. I like the reference to the dentist again. Since dentists were mentioned in the intro, this gives a nice bookends type feel to the essay. The intro and conclusion were pretty well done, but the author fell short on her promises to teach me this process and make me a great negotiator because she was too vague. No outside experts were included, no outside resources were shared, no statistics about how much I should pay or how much a good negotiator saves as compared to a poor negotiator were shared. The text features were only fair, too. I liked the bolded subheadings, very nice, but the pictures were really just decorative, not informative. Overall, this was an okay article with nice organization, good intro and conclusion, but a middle that was very so-so and could have easily been improved with some more research and specifics. Alright, let's look at the last example, which is about how to create a monthly budget. The intro's okay, not fantastic. There are a lot of angles the author could have taken to sell me more on this topic, but the list given in the third sentence offers some convincing reasons, so I'll read on. Immediately, I'm disappointed with the brief listed information that has so little substance that this article seems to be a waste of my time. I'm told to categorize my expenses, but the author doesn't even give me any example categories. That's not helpful for readers who have never made a budget. They're not going to understand what sorts of categories there are or could be. A list of suggested categories is a must here. Bullet 2. From my list of expenses, develop 2 lists. Well, that's wordy. From a list, make 2 more lists? Wait, where did my first list come from? Is that my categories? Why is it now called a list? Now I'm getting really confused. Look through the list to find expenses where I can cut back. Wait, the author hasn't mentioned once putting a dollar amount to the category, so how do I know where I might be able to cut back? I don't even have estimates for what I spend. It seems like these 2 steps are out of order. First, I should estimate, and then I should figure out where I might be able to cut back. The author really needs to include some specifics here about how much the average person spends on common things like gas and rent. Oh geez, we're back to the multiple list thing. Now I'm adding lists, keeping them separate, subtracting from my essentials first, then extras, then looking for negatives, huh? A graphic here showing the 2 list concept with category names, expense amounts, and the math process would really clear this up here. Aside from the bullet points, this article has 0 text features. Okay, so is this the end? Is there another bullet on the next page that I need to go to? No, that really was the end of the article. The conclusion is missing, and it leaves the reader feeling like a page is missing or the rest of the article has been cut off. This results in a very ineffective, abrupt end. This is a classic example of a weak article that is primarily just to get you to the website so they can make money off the advertisements, of which there are a ton. These articles come up early in internet search results to drive traffic to the website, but they have very little substance. Hopefully seeing these 3 different examples helps clarify how specific, detailed, and clear you need to be with the body of your process essay and how important text features can be. Neglecting to supply a conclusion, which clearly wraps up the piece, will frustrate your readers. So write clearly, be specific, add researched information, organize your ideas logically, and enhance your writing with some informative graphics that will clarify your message. Add a strong intro and conclusion, and you'll have a how-to article about a process or topic that works well instead of falling flat.